Yeah. Hello everyone and good morning and good evening. So let me share my screen. Um, okay, fine. So I think it's audible now. Okay. Yeah. So last class, what we discussed is how to create a React.js first application, right? So I think I can show you the screen, the code now. Yeah. So we have seen how to create the application and the folder structure and all the files. So once again, I just tell you what is the flow now. That's very simple. So whenever you enter this particular URL, so it is going to look for a direct file in the public folder, that is index.html. So this file. So in this file, in the body tag, there is a division with ID root. So this particular division is got replaced by some other custom tag. And where is that replacement logic is if you go to src folder in the index.js. So in index.js, see document.get element by ID root. So this particular root uh, ID, this element got injected with some tag called app. Just don't worry about this React strict mode. It is one separate tag given from React specific. That's okay. And app. So in the place of in between the division, app got submitted. So what is this app is a custom tag, and each custom tag is made up of some set of files. If you go and see this app, so this is the app which having a division with h1 tag. It means this division has replaced with this division so that you will get this output. Okay. And really like a YouTube videos handling for brand 7 years of experience and tested. Okay, fine. Yeah. So how this custom component is made and what are the files required to make a custom component? So I have made a slider. See here. So this is component based architecture. You know what? For every React.js application, it is a collection of components. Component means a custom tags. So for all these components, there will be one root component, that is app component. As you can see, if you want to develop any React.js application, so assume this whole this yellow color background is your complete React.js application. So in this, the very top level, you can see the app. It means, so whenever you create, this is what app, okay? So whenever you create any React.js application, the root component is actually the app. And inside any anything you want to develop, it must be inside of a app. So you want to develop a nav bar, sidebar, footer, card. These are all components. What we can say, yes, these are all the components, but these are the child components of the parent component called app. So it's not called as a parent, is called as root. So this is the main root level, and inside these things will be there. And how this each individual component is made by using what files is this one. So React.js components. So when we talk about the React.js component, so component is a piece of UI. Okay. Like you can take a card as a component, like a navbar as a component, like that. And even in the card, you can have multiple partitions, like card header is one component, card body is one component, card footer is one component. Okay. So card text is one component, alerts is a component, like that. So any small piece of the UI, that's called as a component. And in React, we have two types of components. One is class based components and functional oriented components. Okay. Because JavaScript supports OOPS concepts, right? So we can create a component in two ways. One is functional component, one is class based component. So as you can see, app, so this app is also a component, but what you have written here is, I mean, it's already defined function. It means this is a functional component. Okay, we can also make this using class. We'll see that today. Fine. So every component, how it is made is, it is a collection of JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. But here um, we are going to write one .js file. We can call as JSX, JavaScript, and XML. So this contains both the JavaScript source code as well as HTML, and one CSS file separately. This all together we call as a component, and that component we can give a name called some name, whatever the name you want to give, you can give. Okay, if you want to understand the same thing with app, see, this is the app component. As I said, this is app.js. So this is a JS file. So this JS file contains what? JavaScript and HTML. See, this contains the complete function, the JavaScript, which returns HTML source code. But I can say this is not exactly HTML. It is a separate, templating given from React.js is JSX. Okay, so JSX just like HTML only, but slight difference. If you can observe, yes, div tag, h1 tag from HTML only, but what could be this one? Generally, when in HTML, you will write a class, right? You never write a class name. Okay, but in JSX, small difference is class name you'll write. Okay, and something like if you want to write some br tag, what do you write in HTML? What do you write? Just br. You just close like this. See, if I just write a br tag, I got a error. So why error is, it must be closed. So there are some small rules are there, set of rules are there. Any class you want to give, you have to give a class name, and you must have to close the tag. Okay, suppose image tag you write, what do you do? You just write img. Okay, you just write like this, no? Src is equal to something, you will write, but still you got a lot of errors. Why? Because the element img is not closed. So you must have to close it like this. So any element you create, you must have to close. That's one rule. And class name. Okay, fine. And very few rules, we'll discuss them going forward. Fine. And then dot css. So where is the css file for this is, you must have to write the css as the same name as the component. So what is the component file name is capital A. And also one rule is, every component must start with a capital letter. Okay, always remember, every component must start with a caps. Okay, so same app. And what is the style sheet for this is, see, we have a style.css, I mean app.css. So this app.css apply the styles for this app. If you want to know that, see, I will write in app.css. Let's like body, background color, something called orange. Okay, some coral. Okay, some color. So if I have applied the background color here, go check. See, the whole body tag has applied with this color. Fine. It means this app.css and app.js is in connection. But one thing I want to tell you, sir, we all know that we know how to connect the CSS file with HTML, right? You will write a link tag and you will connect with HTML. But thing is, here is a JavaScript, and how does the CSS has connected to this JavaScript is, it's quite simple. If you can expand this import statement, see, you will write in such a way that import dot slash, okay, in a same location where app.js is there, app.css. So if you can import in this way, this CSS will be applicable for this one. Okay, so these imports and exports is just basic setup of, these are the concepts of just JavaScript modules. Okay, so you can connect any CSS files to the component using this import. Suppose if I don't write this import, if I delete the import, so what happens? So this doesn't know where the styles to look for. So what happens? No styles has been applied. So now when I write back app.css, now it look for the styles for body. Okay, so this is what a component. So as I said, a component can be made using a file, using a functions concept or class concept. This is the functional components. Each component will have uh, HTML source code inside, and you can even write a JavaScript code, and the CSS file will be separate. Okay, fine. Now, I don't want to do some changes in the app component. I want to create my own component. Okay, so let's see how to create our own components. Um, can't we use index.css for global styles? You can use index.css also for global styles, but most probably we use app.css. Okay, fine. So now we are gonna create our own components. Okay, so first of all, I don't want this app.css. Just leave it off. So let's create our own components. So how to create our own component is let's close all. Which one? App.js. This one. Acha. This is to import the images. Okay. It was using, when first time application starts, there is one React.js logo was rotating, right? So that was this. So anyway, I removed all the header tags and all. So you can remove this as well. Anyway, we are not using this logo. You can remove it. Okay. Fine. Now it's clear. Okay, so let's create our own component. So where you have to create a components is in a SRC folder. So now I'm talking about just functional components. Okay. Okay, so let's create a functional component. And for this functional component, agenda is we are going to apply styles. Okay, we're going to apply the inline styles. We are going to apply internal styles, and also we're going to apply external styles. Okay, and after this, we're going to start with class components. Okay, how to create a class component, and here also same story, how to apply the styles. And then we also see today how to set up a bootstrap for the React.js. Okay, so this is the main concept now. So functional component, how to create and where to create. In SRC folder, you can right click, you can create a folder. So new directory components. Okay, so in this component, I want to create a component called what component we create is I want to create a card. Okay, I just want to just create a card. But card, what type of card you are creating? I'm just creating functional card. So just say func card. Okay. Uh, so there is no rule like you must have to give the func as a keyword. Not like that. Just we have to understand what are we doing. So that's the reason why I'm making func card. So this is actually my component name. Okay, function oriented. Because when we start with the class, I'll say class card. Okay. So now let's start with this JS file. So if you want to create a component, what's the difference between functional component? Wait, na, array, wait, man. Okay, wait. I will tell you what happening. Okay, wait. Okay, functional components, func card. So we all know to create a component, we need one JS file and we need one CSS file. Okay, so let's start. So in the components, new, you wanna create any file in WebStorm. You can right click on this new file here. Okay, if you want to create a folder, right click new directory. Okay, you want to create a HTML, whatever your file you want, you can just click on. And JavaScript, I'll select JavaScript file. Okay, so the JavaScript file name is func card. Okay, so JavaScript file has created, so don't add to git as of now. Close it. Yeah, so what is the source code here? In app.js, what is there? You have an import statement and you have a function, you have written statement and all this. Okay, so let's make an import React from React.js, and I'll create a function. So you can create a function using this one as the same name as the uh, file name. Okay, so if you create a function just like this, it is a normal function. You can create, a number of functions. Like you can create a normal function, you can create a arrow function or function expression, anything you can create. Okay, so I'm just gonna with function expression. Okay, not function expression. I'm gonna start with arrow function. I think you might be familiar with arrow functions. So what the arrow function is? You can just say let function is equal to, I start with function expression. Okay, this is also a function. Okay, and another way this is called, okay, I'll tell you from the scratch. This is normal JavaScript function. Okay, another way of declaring a function is you can just say let function is equal to like this. So this is how also you can create a functions in JavaScript. This is called function expression. And another way of the new way of declaring a function is a function with arrow function from ES6. What is that is, you don't have a function keyword, you just have an arrow symbol. This is called a function. This is again a function. Okay, I'm gonna start with arrow functions. Okay, so what this functional component looks like is this having a return. Okay, so this returns something called JSX. What is that? JSX is some HTML source code, some div tag. Okay, inside I write a h1. I'm just saying I am from functional card. Okay, fine. So once you have written, you must have to export this so that you can access this file from any other file. Okay, so how to export is export default func card. So this is actually the structure of functional components. Fine. Now, so functional card has created, I save it. And when we see outputs, there is nothing called I am from functional card. So why it is not displaying here is, yes, you have created a separate component, but that is not attached to the root component because the whole page is coming from app, but in that app there is nowhere functional card is written. Okay, so when you create a function card, it means you have created a custom tag with the name called func card. You want to display this data, you have to use the custom tag called this name. So what you do here in the app.js, after welcome to React.js, you can just say capital func card. See, it automatically detects and also imports from components folder slash func card. Okay, so now what happened, it is injected over here. So what is the data here? It is a division. So now just check, see, now I got data here. And when you see, when you go for inspect, when you go for inspect elements, see body tag, see in the div called root, what is injected? App is injected. Okay, so this app div with the class called app has injected. So in that, what is there? H1 tag welcome to React.js, that is this one, and func card. What's the func card source code is this one. So this whole division has injected in the place of here. So when you see expand, see another division here. So another division has been injected over here. Okay, fine. So this how you will write it. Uh, Now let's start with func card. Okay, so we just got only this one, and each and one more thing. Each component is reusable. What is reusable is, suppose I want to display this again. So what you do, you can just reuse this multiple number of times. So those many times is gonna display. This called each component is reusability. Okay, we'll start about this one later. Now we're gonna apply the styles. So how to apply styles for this one? How to apply styles is, go to that. First I starts with inline styles. How to apply inline styles is, you can write a style attribute. Okay, it is not a regular HTML style attribute. It is like this. And what is this is actually the React expression. Inside you will write another expression. You can write color red. Okay, so what happens? See, you got the color red. So this is inline style. You can just say style equal to color in the brackets color red, and you want to apply the background color. You will write um, I think comma background capital color. See, I'm not writing background minus color as like CSS. Okay, I tell you what is happening. Okay, background color is blue, text color is red. So this is called a inline style. But we never recommend writing this type of inline styles. I want to write internal styles. So the another way of writing internal styles is you can make like this. Let styles is equal to like this. Okay, and here you will write a regular color. What do you want? Red, comma background color blue. Okay, let's take this as blue, and this is white. Okay, I don't want to apply like this. I want to use this here. So how to substitute that particular value over here is you can just take the variable name and you can substitute over here. So what happens? It will change back to your styles. Okay, so this is internal way of applying styles. And if you still don't want to apply the styles in this way, is and one more thing you have to observe, color okay, but what about this one? Background color. But in CSS, how we apply background hyphen color, right? See, yes, because this is what it is JavaScript. Okay, in the JavaScript, how you apply the styles is like this only, right? So document dot get id dot background capital color. In this way only we'll apply in JavaScript. Okay, because it is JavaScript, you must have to write the styles in this way. But if it is a separate style sheet, then yes, you can go ahead with the exact CSS way of writing styles. Okay, now I tell you how to add external styles. Okay, as of now I'll just comment out this, and I don't want to use this. Okay, just back to normal. Yeah, how to create external styles is the same file name you create another style sheet. So right click new style sheet func card dot css. Okay, so here in this I want to apply the styles. So what styles you want? Now I can say but we have to refer the tag name, no, h1 tag. Okay, or else I say I'll give a class called see class name blue. Okay, I just given a class name called blue. So for this blue dot blue, what I do is background color light okay, let's take royal blue, and the color is white. Okay, so now it's not apply because we are not connected the CSS with the JS file. So how to connect? That's quite simple. Import dot slash funcard dot css. If we have connected, so this blue will be applied from here. So you get this styles as this. Okay, so this how you can create actually a basic functional components, and then you can apply the inline styles, internal styles, and the external styles. Okay, fine, looks good. Now one more thing is, one small rule in this here is return division h1 tag. Okay, if I write another h1 tag, what happens? It works perfect. Now what I do is I copy the just observe closely what I'm doing. If I write h1 tag two times, it perfectly works, right? Now if I take the division, I copy and I'll paste the division again. What happened? You got a lot of errors. Sir, why these many errors has come is there is a rule in the written statements. There must be at least one enclosing tag. Okay, there must be at least one enclosing tag. In that you can write any number of h1 tags. It means, sir, I want to create another division. If you want to create another division here, uh, you want to create another division here. So, but both the division, there is no one enclosing tag. So both are separate tags. Okay. So if you really wanted to do this, you have to keep everything inside one another enclosing tag. So now it's happy because both the divisions are inside one enclosing tag. So always remember, written statement should must have at least one enclosing tag which contains everything, but there is no subsequent other tags. Okay, fine. Now let's keep it back to original. I'll just delete this. Okay, fine. Now division, h1 tags. Okay, looks good, and we got the data. Fine, but I don't want to make this simplest example just like a colors. I want to create a card. As I said, it's a card, right? So let's create a card. Okay, so before card, I'm gonna apply some styles for the my app.js. Okay, what I do is instead of h1, I'll take this something called h3. Okay, fine, and I want to apply some styles for the main nav bar, and then we'll start about others. Okay, let me uh, do one thing. I just delete this. I write a nav bar. Okay, so I'm just showing how to apply styles now. Slash navbar, in that one anchor tag hr, and give the class name. What I do is main minus nav. Okay, so they say um, welcome to components. Okay, fine. So I just made a nav bar, class name main nav, welcome to components. So it's got like this. So for this navbar we need to apply some styles. So how to apply styles for that is class name main nav, and where you apply the styles is either you can write all the styles specific to the components, or else you can club all the global styles in app.css. Okay, either any one choice. So app.css, what is that? Dot main minus nav. Okay, so what I do, background color, some, okay, let's say blue. Okay, conflow blue, some blue color, and oh, I given a class name for anchor tag. Sorry, I want to give the class name for nav. Okay, okay, so the whole thing will apply. Okay, fine. And what do you want? I want some padding some 10 pixels. Okay, and I want nothing else. Okay, fine. And then dot main nav space a. I want color white. You get the color white, and this font size some 18 pixels. Okay, and then text decoration none. So this is how you're gonna apply the styles. Fine. And then this func card, I don't want this nasty this example. Let's create a nice card. Okay, so back to func card here. I don't wanna make this h1 tag, and I don't want to do styles over here. I want to make the styles in a app.ch itself. Okay, here I create a nice card. How to create a card is, let's take one card as the class name, my own card. In that card minus body. Okay, so inside I write h3. Okay, so let's say React JS, and then one paragraph. Let's say lorem. Yeah, here. If I say lorem 20 and tab, you get some 20 dummy words. If I say lorem 10 tab, you get some 10 words. Suppose you just say lorem 5 tab, you get 5 words like that. Okay, I want some 20 words. And always remember lorem is lowercase. 50 tab, or not 50 too much, 30 tab. So you got this. Fine, but I want this to display like a card. So what are the class names you given? Card and card body. So if I write a styles in the this card.css, it only applicable for my component. But if I give this styles in app.js, in app.css, what happens? It applicable for entire application wherever use this class. Okay, so I want to just make it a global styles. So card. So what you do is dot card. Okay, am I include that func card? Yes, is there. Card. Let's take a width, some 300 pixels. Okay, let me give some nice box shadow. 00 some 10 pixels and black. Okay, let's keep it some margin. Margin some 15 pixels. Okay, inside we need some padding. So let's take some padding of 10 pixels. Okay, yeah, looks good. Let's make some light border radius, some 10 pixels. So you got this. Okay, fine. And this card, I want to give some nice background color as well. You can do like card background, some linear gradients, some 10, let's take 45 degrees, comma, contour blue, and um, pink. Okay, fine. So this is how you can create a card and we can apply the styles. And then in the card, there's a H3 tag. I want to just increase the font size a little bit. So dot card, I think it's card body space H3. We can just say what font size, some 20 pixels. Okay, fine. So this is how you can create a card and then we can apply the styles. So we know how to create a functional components and then how to apply the styles. Either you can write styles for the specific style.css or else you can keep in a global app.css. So it works in this way. And every component is a reusable component. What is reusable means? If I write just func card, this tag, I got this card. Now if I take copy one more, what happened? I got another card. Okay, so let's make n number of times. So those many cards automatically display. So this is the beauty of any component based library or framework like React or Angular. Okay, because in normal HTML, if you want to develop, what you do, you have to write, this complete source code one more time, copy paste division. You have to do multiple times. Okay, but here is only just one tag. So this tag represents the whole card. Okay, so that's a component base. Fine. So now what we have learned is this part. Okay, inline, internal, external, and functional components. Fine. We can also create a same type of component using a class approach. Okay, so let's create a class approach. So why they have given these two is because people are already familiar with the functional, we can write a functions in JavaScript, but recently from year 6 onwards, class concept has come. But most of the people not upgraded to classes, they still wanted to use with functions. Okay, that's why they given a two approaches. But let's also see how to create with a class oriented. Okay, so it means you have to create a class for that. So let's see how to create a class. So I want that to be a separate component. So in this components, I create a file name. So what's my file name now is class card. Okay, that's func card in this class card. So in this new JavaScript class card, okay, so we have to import React from React, and here what we have to do is not a function, we have to write a class. So how to write a class is um, class and file name same as the class name. So class card. Okay, and this class card extends something called component. So that will be react dot component. It means you are creating a component which is getting the same features as the React component. So this component is coming from React. Either you write React dot components or else you can just import in this way and you can just use directly the component. So this both works. Okay, but I prefer this one, React dot capital components. Okay, man. So inside there is a function called render. Okay, you can just say ren and enter. It comes automatically the structure. Okay, I repeat, ren enter. Sorry, ren, you can enter the tab. Okay, so render is a method in that return again same division. So here I read h1 tag I am from class component. Okay, so this is the structure of a class. You must have to write the same structure, and then you have to export default class card like this. That's it. This is the class components. Okay, and only thing difference is here return JSX, but here also return JSX, but that is inside a method called render. Okay, and fine. So how to use this is custom tag you can have to use in a app.js. So back to app.js. Inside here I will write class card. So if I write a class card, what happened? What's the content of class card? Is I'm from class components. So what happens? Go back here. So you will get I am from class component. Wow, perfect. Now I don't want this again. This text. I want this type of card. So what you do is I don't want this. Same like previous. I will write one card body. Or we get a card. Yes, we got a styles for the card because even though I have not written any styles for this JS, but still I got the styles apply because this tag is integrated to app.js and this app.js having app.css that is having a global style. So these styles are applying on also for my this tag as well. Okay, here I read h3 something called good morning. Okay, you get this, and then what you write paragraph just lrm 30 tab. Okay, so what happens? You get this. So you can make this card, and this is actually made from functional components, and this is made from class-based component, and you can create a styles in this way. Um, okay, fine. And now, okay, this is how you create. And now, what is the difference between functional component and class-based component is? So functional component previously it was only for representational, just presentational components. Presentational purpose means some static data you want to display, you go with functional components. Any dynamic data you display, you go for class component. But that concept is up to 16.8, but later you can also maintain the states for functional component as well. That's a concept called hooks. Okay, um, don't worry, I tell you what is this concept. Um, so where we stop? Yes, we can make the cards in this way. Now, um, I want to make something dynamic. Dynamic means so here in function card, I will create a variable. Okay, so let's heading is equal to let heading is equal to let's say something called online class. Okay, I create a variable heading is equal to online class. So now I don't want to display React.js static text here. I want to display this online class here. So any variable content you want to display dynamically here, you want to substitute here, you can go with something called Reactive Expression. How we write React expression is like this. Okay, in Angular we write double curly braces, but in React we just write single curly brace. So I want to substitute this heading over here. So what you do, you will write the curly brace heading. So like this. If you write a curly brace heading, what happens? Here is see online class. If I change this to offline, so automatically it will display offline class like this. And not only just to display the variable here, you can even write the functions on it. You can say dot length. So what happened? You get the length of offline classes. Okay, and you can just say dot to uppercase. What happens? You will get see uppercase. So it was lowercase. It's a camel case. Now I made it to uppercase. Okay, you can do dot length. Anyway, normal length of 39. So like this. Okay, you can use these thing, I mean this called React expression. And also I want to display a date. You can do some small p tag date you want to display. You can just say new date, the regular built-in JavaScript object date dot to date string. Okay, like this. So what happens, it will display the date. So today's date is Friday 12th June, and you want to display the time. So to time string. So you display the time. Now this is the to not time string. Let's take to local time string. Okay, this is also to local date string. So the local time and the local date. Okay, so this is called React expression. Fine. And here one more concept I wanted to tell you is there is a concept called props. What is this props? What is this props is? See here. When I talk about components, see here. Uh, what we have done is we create a variable called heading. Hello, hello. Yeah, we create a variable called heading, and that's called display here. So we created data in this particular component, and that's what display here. So you create a data here, and you can display here. But sometimes what happen? You may have data in app, and that data I want to display here. Suppose when you have login, okay, when you have an application and you have login, okay, so as soon as you log in, the login information is there in here, but I want to display that login person data in my card. It means suppose you have this heading, okay, I just remove this heading, cut it, I keep it in the app.js. Okay, so in app.js I have a something called heading. Now this heading I want to display in the functional card. How to display? See, you don't have heading now. What happened? Nothing has display. So if I say here heading, what happens? You will get the error. What is saying? Heading is not defined. So I don't know, dude, where is the heading? Correct? Okay, but still I wanted this heading in app.js. I wanted to put it to the function card. So how can you do that is no imports. That is a concept called props. Okay, so what is this props is to share the data from parent components to child components. Okay, so props concept is to share the data bit from the parent component to the child components. So how can you share that data from app? App is having heading. I want to share that to here. So how can you share is just observe. I want to share it to the function card. How to do is you can create a what you call attributes. So I say mm, something called info. Okay, is equal to heading. So what I made is function card info attributes value is heading. Okay. So how can you access this heading? I mean this info in the function card is you go to function card, and every function we made actually empty parameters, but actual every component is it accepts something called props. Okay, one default variable called props. So whenever I say here I write console.log of props. So let's see what is this props. So this props contains whatever the attribute you are sending to this particular component, that contains all information inside a props variable. So let's see what is the props contains. Now back here, if I inspect, if I go to console, See, props is an object. That object contains info offline classes because you given a name called info, heading values offline classes. If I change this to online classes, so props contains online classes. Suppose if I add another thing, if I just say message is equal to, I just say static also, good morning. Okay, so now this time what happens? The props contains, hello, there is some power disturbance in my location. I think it's audible now. Yeah. Yeah. So good morning. So what happens? You got message good morning. So this props contains this data, but I want to access online classes. So what you do, props dot info. So what you do in this func card is I want to display here props. Props is an object, right? I want to display this data. So what you do? So props dot info. So what happens? It display the see online classes. I want to display good morning. So what do props dot msg props dot msg. So what happens? It will display good morning. So you can pass any data from the parent to the child using props. Okay, you can just send using this type of properties, and those things can be accessed in this, and then you can use it over here. Fine. And one more thing, sir, how can you access the same thing in this is functional component, right? So how can you access the same thing in class component also? Okay, class component is slight different. In a functional component, how you access the props is in functional component, how you access the props is let's say props dot name. Okay, but in class components, how you access is right here. In class component, how you access a small difference. This dot props dot name. Okay, so using this keyword, you can access the props. Okay, so let's see how to get that data over here. So let's slightly modify once, not message, just only info. Okay, so here I just say info. So props dot info. I'm just providing I got online class, and the same online class I want to display over here as well. So what you do here also, I'll say info heading. Okay, but this is a class component. So how to access the class component with props is slight different. Let's see what is that. So in function, what happened? The function itself will take a props, but in the class, what happens is, sir, how to access in the render? No, there is something called constructor. Okay, you will be having this say con and tab. You get the constructor, and this constructor can access the props. Okay, small difference you can understand. For functional component, you can access through the function parameters itself, but for class, you can access through the constructor. Okay, and what is this super keyword is? Anyway, we are extending from the parent. So you know this rule, right? Whenever the child component is created, whenever the child class is created, it has to create the first parent object. Okay, that's a super keyword. Okay, so props has come. Now you can use that props over here, not good morning. I wanted to use that. So how to access the props over here is you can just say this dot props dot info, because we made a name as info. So I use here info. So what happens here also display online classes. Okay, fine. So this is how you will display any data from the parents over here. Okay, and suppose I have something like let colors is equal to one array. Okay, so in this array I have okay, let's take like this, not array, I'll take as employees. Okay, employees is having an object. um, let's go for something complex. Okay, I have an id of one and name called John, and what do you want, age some 40 years, and then designation. So designation manager. So I have an object. So let's copy this. Let's make another object. ID2. Person name is Wilson, and this guy is around 45 years. This guy is a CA manager. Okay, so I have two objects. What is my plan is I want to send first object to the functional component, second object to the card component. So what you do is, let's say employee is equal to employees of 0, first object. Okay, here employee is equal to employees of second object. Okay, so now how to access them in there? You can just say props dot employee dot, because employee is the keyword, right, dot id and name. So back to the functional components. So here what I do in this card is mm, not just simply displaying a paragraph. I'll make something called one ul tag li. I'll just display the id. How we display the id? You use dynamic here. So props dot employee dot id. So what happens? You will get the id1. Okay, so let's make multiple. So id name, and this is age. This is what you call id name, age, designation. Okay, fine. So how to display them? This is name, this is age, this is designation. So what happens? You will get this whole data here. Fine. And one more thing, we know how to access the props, right? But one more thing is, sir, every time do we have to say props.employee.id, prop.employee.id? Do we really have to do this? You have a good feature in normal JavaScript ES6 concept. If you know ES6 JavaScript concept, there is a concept called destructuring concept. Okay, so destructuring concept. So using this destructuring concept, if you're not sure, you can just check this concept in my YouTube channel for JavaScript. So using this destructuring concept, you can destructure this data. So the props contains what? Props contains info and employee. So what I do is here I can say like this: let something is equal to props dot employee. I can write like this. So what happened? Employee contains ID, name, age, and designation. So I can just distract them from employee. So I get ID, I get the name, I get the age, I get the designation as well. Okay, so I'm just extracting these things from employee. So we don't need to mention them. We can just specify this age and just designation in this way. So these data has been substituted over here. You get again gets the same answer. So this is called destructuring concept of normal JavaScript. It's not React.js. Okay, it's a JavaScript. You can either do props dot employee dot id or else directly id. Okay. So that's the concept. And one more thing, let's make the same thing in my class component as well. So let me copy this. Let's back to card. Where write it? I think you can write inside here. It's not props. It is this dot props. Correct. Okay. So let's copy the UL tag and the card. We don't need this paragraph. Let's make it paste. Okay, so this data has access here. Otherwise, you already this dot props dot employee dot id. That's a long sequence, right? So now check. You can access the data. So second employee and first employee you can access over here. Okay, so this is how you can access the props. There is another concept called a state. Okay, so props over state is there. Actually, state concept I want to discuss with Bootstrap. So let's see how to connect an application to the Bootstrap. Okay, so how to integrate, because we don't want it to write these many styles for, you know, this basic styles keep writing like this. If you're using Bootstrap, it'll be easy for us to develop a front end. Okay, so what my plan is, I want to use everything from Bootstrap. Okay, yeah, so that's it for today. Anyways, just one hour. From tomorrow onwards, we'll take a class for 2 hours. Okay, just for starting 3 days, we'll take a class for 1 hour, and after this, we'll take a class from tomorrow onwards 2 hours. Okay, so please make the payment, and so tomorrow onwards, I think tomorrow is the last day. Not tomorrow, today only, right? Yeah, today is the last day for free sessions, and you must have to pay the fee today. Okay, today by end of today, and so that I'll give you the link so that you can join for the next classes. So how to integrate Bootstrap and all, we'll see in the next class. Okay, and now let's start with the doubts. You can ask for doubts. Any Angular batch? Yeah. So we are starting Angular batch in the next 1 week. Okay, I'll update. I have all your mail IDs. I'll update through mail ID. Okay. Any questions in today's class, or any what happen if we don't use import React from React? Yeah, good question. If you don't use import React from React, what happen is, see here. You know what? As I said, this thing, this division and everything, this is looks like HTML, but this is not a HTML. That is another templating language they use internally in React JS is JSX, because the class name, these things and all, and these, you know, these expressions can be understood by React. So that rules of JSX will be given inside of this thing. If you don't import this, you will be uh, getting lot of errors. See, you got failed to compile. So React must be in a scope with JSX. So there's some JSX specific errors you get, because this JSX logic can be there in React. So you must have to import React so that React will understand what are you writing in this, what is meant by the class name, and it does convert back to the plain HTML language. So that's the reason why you must have to import this React. Okay. And any question? We cannot use that classes from. We cannot use that classes. No, we have to use, because we are using it. No. And on Monday remaining clean 15 days. 15 days too much time, man. Okay, okay. Is it compulsory to define class name or function name as file name? Yes, yes. You must have to define. That's a, you know, that's a default rule. You must have to write a class name as the same name as this thing. Okay. Can we write more than one class in a file? Yes, we can write more than one class in a file, but we can use only one tag. Okay, because even though you write multiple classes in one file, but at last you can export one class. Okay. If you want to export multiple classes, actually you can use that. Wait. Actually, we'll discuss that in our next class. Okay, there are a lot of concepts. I think you are going faster than me. Okay, wait. I'll tell you what to do there. Okay, how to create function current class. Why you create a why? As an example, why I create means I'm not getting. Actually, you know, I just wanted to give a example like to create a card component. So this is one component using. There are two ways you can create a you know, components, right? So how to create a component using a function oriented and the class oriented. So choice is yours. You can use either class component and functional components. But there is a concept called state. When state comes, so till now function you can use, as per this example, you can use either class or function. But from tomorrow onwards, there is a new concept will come called state. So when state comes, from there function will be different, class will be different. So how you access the state in function is completely different. In function we have to use something called react hooks, that is different. Okay, so from tomorrow onwards we use only classes and later we'll convert to hooks. So that will come, that you will conclude in tomorrow. And is Java constructor, JavaScript constructor same? No, most same functionality, but it's different. In JavaScript, we write the name called constructor, but in Java we write a class name, but almost the same functionality because functionality is same. Fine. So people are asking more about JavaScript questions. As I said, you must know the JavaScript first to understand the React.js. So as I said, you can just go through my YouTube channel where I have complete explanation. That is enough, I can say. So if you go here to my channel and where you can find a playlist, so there you can find 66 videos on JavaScript. So they're all ops concepts and everything over there. You can just go through them. Okay, and also please go through with Bootstrap as well by today because tomorrow we are starting with Bootstrap. Okay, and from tomorrow onwards every example with Bootstrap. So please, I strongly suggest you can go with the Bootstrap module. And in real-time application development, which component is used more? Functional components. Hooks is the advanced concept now. Okay, we'll discuss in the next classes. Fine, I went through your videos. So good explanation. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, fine. So that is enough for today's class, and tomorrow we'll meet and we'll discuss how to integrate with Bootstrap and how to use the states concept, and then we also see event handling. Okay, so how to handle the events and form handling and some nice examples like a stopwatch and some good examples are there. Okay, those things, events and all, we'll discuss tomorrow. So tomorrow is very, very important class, and please pay the fee and join the class. Okay, so thank you so much for joining, and we'll meet. Um, okay, so we'll meet tomorrow. Yes, thank you.